Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to SolarisKit. Today we're going to look at the installation of our hot tub heating solution. Now let's have a quick look what's in the box. We'll just open this. It's going to have all our pipe work, our pumps, controller, fitting kit. So firstly, you will find a bag with all the fittings needed for this installation. There is power supply. There is a pump. There is our own bespoke solar controller. It's all pre-wired. We'll look at that later on. And finally, our 12mm pipework. So let's now have a look at how to install the kit. We have two options to install the pump. So we're going to look at option one, which is the submersible pump. So this pump can be dropped directly into the hot tub, or it can be installed in the pipe run. So we'll look at the installation in the hot tub first. So we have 10 bends, 2 connectors for the pump, 2 different types of reducers. We have a connector for the drain for option 2, and some thread tape. So firstly, we need to take the pump. Now we need to check there's an arrow on here, and the arrow always points towards the collector. So on this one, the arrow's pointing this way. We will put our first connector on and just screw that on. It's got a seal inside it, so it's just screw on. Hand tight is good enough for this. Now what we need to do from here is take the pipe, and we will then connect the pipe. So from that, we're inside, we will just be dropping it down so it sits near the bottom. So we can cut the pipe here and add some fittings onto that just to bring us back out. So with a pipe cutter, I'll take that and a couple of 12mm bends. So these are just push fit connectors again. And what I normally do is I would unclip and just check the width of the hot tub, and just cut the pipe just so it's the same width. This will just sit on top when the cover goes back on. So again, small piece into the bend, and one more bend. Now, so I can drop this in. What we'll do is just make sure this cable doesn't drop into the water. This end is not waterproof, so without the connection being made, so it will just sit there. So that's the start there, and I just add a section of pipe on. Okay, so from there, just to hold this, we can just add the cover back on just now. Okay, so from here we know that we need to join onto the bottom of the first collector. So we have 4 collectors in a row. So what I will do is get another connector, and remember the pipe cutters need them. So this pipe pumping towards the first in line connector. So we'll just, all we have is bends, so we just need to cut the pipe. And push that on. and stick that into here. So that's option one. So submersible pump inside, pumping towards the first collector, but we do have option two of the pump being in line on the pipe itself. So I'll just look at option two. So what we do is take this pump back off again. So again, it's just a push fit connection. I will lose these connectors just now. Now, what I can do is, so from virtually the same position, but the pump outside the hot tub, I can take another section. I'll keep that, I might be able to use that later on. So from the pump now, I just need to do some connections to the drain on this one. So the drain is a really good place to join on. It's the coldest part of the hot tub, and it's an easy installation, keeps the pump outside of the water. So we can look at this one. So just make sure the drain plug inside is closed so no water comes out. We have supplied in the kit thread tape, so we need to apply this to, this is the trickier part. So just wind the tape around it. I would say between 6 and 8 winds should do this. Not a lot of pressure. Yeah, so we then put the connector on. Can then take our 22 to 15 reducer and the 12 to 15 or 15 to 12. Push that in, just lock that on. Now this is where tools will be required to tighten this section together. And then from there we can look at putting the other pump connection on. And now a small section of pipe. Just cut that. Just push that together. I say tighten this nut. That's the cold return back to the collector pipe work finished on option 2. Just keep this cable just there, and we will show the wiring for the controller at a later part in the video. So from here now we can go and we can now look at the collectors. Now the collectors, I've got a video on our website already on how to build the SolarisKit collectors, so if you could refer to that. We have put 4 in series here, so all we do is sit them together in the sun, link them together as a daisy chain. So all they do is link together, cold in, picks up the heat, and keeps going till it gets to the last one. So a very simple solution just to quickly join these together. That's it right through to the last one. We then would look at the flow or the hot to the hot tub. All we need to do here is take a pipe, loop it up and over, and that will be the pipe work installed. So we need 2 more bends, pipe cutters. Okay, so again, it's a pipe inside. Now we're looking at just dropping this pipe in again, just to near the bottom. Ideally, we keep this hot away from the drain or where the pump is, just to allow the flow to cross over. We don't want to have them too close. So again, I'm just going to roughly take a size for the internal pipe. Again, just a quick size of connecting all the pipes together. Now just open the hot tub up. Now, just make sure that the hot tub, the pipe is reaching the bottom as it bends a little bit. Lock that down. Now this one, all we need to do is get to the last collector. So I can just cut that. And then just push that in. Now that is the system fully connected in terms of pipe work. There is other work to do with the installation, so let's have a look at that next. So let's have a look at the SolarisKit HT100 controller for hot tubs. Now we have bespoked this controller. It's all pre-wired, it's all coded and ready to go with all the temperatures. It has mounting lugs for mounting to a wall or to a frame without opening the main control. We have, the wires are already in, so this shorter wire is the hot tub sensor. The next one is the sensor that needs to go to the collectors, so that needs to run all the way around. The next one again is the power supply for the pump. So we're going to look at the solution option 1 for the pump and submerged into the water. So we have power, and the last one is the power from a 12-volt adapter. So it's all wired, ready to go. It's IP rated for external installation, so we can fit this outside next to the hot tub. Let's have a look at the sensors. So we can take the first sensor, which is the hot tub, which is the shortest, so it's quite obvious looking at it which one's which. Now in the bag, so what we have inside is 2 pipe clips for sensors, and what we supply just in case to tidy cables or pipes is 2 fixings with cable ties. So for this installation we need 1 pipe clip. So before going in there, I can just push this on and it just locks in. So that is sitting there. So now we just need to lock it on. So we are looking at connecting this as far down the pipe as possible. So quite close to the pump on this one. Just clip that on. Now, like I said, rip ties, we could just tidy that up just to hold it on. But for just now, I will just push this back in. Just make sure power supply doesn't go in. It's not waterproof until it's connected. Just lock that together. So that's sensor 1 done. Now we can look at the collector sensor. Now, on installing this one, it's the longer cable. Just, we don't know how far your collectors will be from your hot tub. It's hopefully as close as possible. It just depends on where the collectors are. So just take that out again onto the last one. last clip, just push that in again, locked on. Now this has got to be installed on the last collector. So this is the first, so this is the pipe in from the hot tub, heating as it goes. Come to the last one. This is the one that we just pop the lid off. And then we get this cable and we just simply lock this on to the top of the pipe. From there we can then reinstall the top cap, and that is sensor 2 installed. So now we can just tidy up the cable just to save tripping on it just now. Okay, now we can look at the pump connection, which is the third one in. So this is a male connector. So we can, what we'll do is just take this over a bit closer just now. So from that, all we need to do is push the connector in and then screw the seal on. So this will now make it waterproof. So that's the pump connection in. Now the last one is the power. So before attaching the power, what we recommend is just make sure the pump is in the water. Depending on which installation you do, if the pump is outside the hot tub, make sure that the drain valve is open so the pump is purged of water. The controller, when powered up, kicks in for about 30 seconds just to air the system. So we don't want to run that with no water inside. So we've just got to make sure that there's plenty of water in the system. Submersible, much easier, just make sure it's dropped in. The external, we have to just make sure that it's all ready to go. So take the power supply, it's exactly the same, just the opposite way around. Push this in and then tighten the connection again to make it waterproof. Now we can plug the system in. So now we can look at turning the controller on. So we will see on the top that we have a button, an on button. So we can push this in. Now what will have happened first is we have a quick flash of red. We know from that the pump has switched on. The pump will start running to purge the system. Now that's why it's very important to have the system full, already purged into the pump or well submerged into the water, just to make sure it doesn't burn out. Now it will run for 30 seconds with this flashing light, and after that it will go on standby. So there's the solid red. So that means now the controller is looking at the collector and the hot tub. It's waiting for the sun to come. Once the sun heats the solar collectors, it will then realise that it has a higher temperature in the collector than the hot tub. It will then start flashing slowly. This then indicates that the pump has came on again, but it's under the control of the two sensors. It's looking for a difference in temperature between the two areas. Now that will just keep going until the sun goes away at night. It will just keep flashing. After this, if the sun does go away, we will just go back to a stable solid red. That just means it's looking at the sensors and waiting for the right time. So the pump will not run, no power will get used. It will be fully automatic. It will just, here we go. So the sun has gone away, so it will come back on under its own control, and it's then ready to use the energy from the sun to heat the hot tub. So some top tips for this installation. For better efficiency, make sure all the pipework exposed between the collectors and the hot tub are well insulated. Make sure that the power doesn't get turned on until the pump is in water or the pipework is full of water by opening the drain so that if the power comes on, it's not going to burn out. Then the main part for the collectors is make sure that they are positioned so they get the most amount of daylight as possible, amount of sunlight. So no trees, buildings, no shading, anything like that, just to make sure they can work all day when the sun's out. From the position on the ground, if it's on grass, we recommend that we use some sort of weed matting underneath that, just to stop any growths inside it from the grass. It basically is like a little greenhouse once it gets up to temperature, so just to stop any of that. Also making sure that when the sensors are installed, that they are at the either end of the hot tub, just so they are picking up different temperatures. The collectors, now we've done a 4 collector system. We feel that this is about right for most sizes of hot tubs, but we can do multiple rows. So we could do a row of 3 and another row of 3 just to get more output. So there is a lot of different ways to configure this system. Now basically you are now ready to use the energy from the sun to heat your hot tub.